So Phil Burnell acts like a cult leader. We've said this a lot, and while it's catchy and somewhat agreeable, I thought I'd break it down some more, in case his fans and neutrals think we're being overly dramatic.
It is widely accepted that you are in a harmful cult or high-control group if 1. There is opposition to critical thought.
This goes without saying. If you voice a criticism in a live stream, you are likely to be banned, or timed out at least, for being negative and toxic.
2. The leadership is authoritarian, charismatic, and narcissistic.
Phil Burnell is without a doubt in my mind one of the most narcissistic human beings to ever exist on this planet. He certainly is quick to act as an authoritarian too, citing his many years of YouTube experience, gaming experience, and so on, to attempt to prove themselves as the superior voice in a topic. And while I wouldn't call Phil charismatic, he can talk for ages like a politician and has so far seduced a total of 2 women on this planet into a romantic relationship.
3. There are draconian and intrusive rules for members.
So let's pretend you want to join Phil's live streams to talk to him. You click on subscribe as you can't chat as a guest, and are told you need to wait 24 hours until you're able to talk. You come back a day later. You're able to talk. You are trying to engage the others in chat and discussion about things that they may enjoy like music or sports. And you get Phil publicly calling you out for derailing the stream by talking about things unrelated to the stream. Yes, I think I'd consider that draconian.
4. The leaders are above the law.
Phil Burnell's word is law in his kingdom. He'll rarely apologize even when he's in the wrong. Phil has fucked up a lot very publicly, and yet will not take responsibility for said fuck-ups. That is a whole topic in its own right. But things like driving Leanna, his first love, away from him, losing his Twitch partnership, losing his Machinima contract, getting himself into mountains of credit card debt by moving to Washington. There's a lot of his mistakes he'll rarely hold his hands up to.
5. The flow of information is subject to censorship and control.
Whenever us detractors try to prove anything, regardless of how good that evidence is, Phil will claim it's fake and not true. From his WWE Champions account, to the bank leaks, to the bankruptcy, Phil enjoys trying to control the flow of information around him, to minimize the most embarrassing and harmful information being revealed to his most prominent and generous supporters. Phil has openly claimed that all information about him on the internet after the summer of 2017, after his Down the Rabbit Hole video was made, cannot be taken as factual.
6. The group as a whole is elitist, with an elite inner circle at its core.
There's no easy way to say this. Phil has some weird fans. There are those who are genuinely disabled, whether wheelchair-bound like Rob on Wheels, visually impaired like Super Blindman, autistic like Nathan Smith. But I have a theory that Phil almost attracts a certain group of people as a viewer. They see in Phil someone they look up to, like he's the king of the downtrodden, the unpopular. There is Daspo Shit, who used to make videos on YouTube before seemingly retiring due to real-life work commitments getting in the way, who still actively supports Phil both as a viewer as well as financially. We'll just ignore the time Das withheld money for a charity due to tax reasons. Birds of a feather stick together, and the hand-picked mods Phil has chosen to govern his chat if he is too busy to or themselves full of curious individuals, privy to their own secured forms of communication with Phil outside of the YouTube chat, scheming on which members might be trolls and who they should be keeping a close eye on.
7. Threats are made against members who leave.
Phil eventually throws everyone under the bus. When they've outlived their usefulness, they may as well be dead to him. Sometimes he'll banish longtime viewers for voicing a criticism, and sometimes it's someone fairly new who calls them out on their toxicity. We've seen it go both ways. While Phil won't actually threaten them with violence, he considers a ban to be the end of the matter, shutting off discourse and moving on.
8. Outsiders or outsider groups are slandered and vilified.
Effectively, Phil has warned his viewers to be wary of Kiwi Farms, other detractor YouTube channels, Twitter, and more recently Reddit, due to the criticisms Phil has faced on there. His usual go-to defense is to mock them for being stupid idiots, claim something was taken out of context, that the place he's speaking out against is filled with such toxicity, and will likely round it off by suggesting to his own viewers that they're better off staying away from anywhere else that is not his own channel.
9. Members frequently experience feelings of shame, guilt, fear, and dread.
When financial support is lower than usual, Phil will attempt to subtly shame fans into supporting him. While this is Phil's job, reminding his fans every 10 minutes that support is slow is not something anyone generally wishes to hear on a live stream, especially during a bloody inflation that the whole world is suffering from. And while Phil's acknowledged that the inflation has indeed hit him also with his weekly shop, he still expects, nay, demands, to hit his monetary targets. On the one hand, Phil will say it is fine if people can't contribute. This is their guilt kicking in, literally apologizing to Phil that they cannot give him money. But inevitably, Phil will force the matter if things continue being slow to pause midstream, unrecorded, to send tweets out asking for support, as well as pleading with those live viewers to contribute by tipping specifically due to Phil's never-ending list of impending financial emergencies that he claims to have.
10. There is evidence of economic or financial exploitation.
The simplest, and perhaps crudest way to say this is thus. Phil manipulates disabled people for their financial support while being financially irresponsible. It's not just the disabled, of course. They make up a small proportion of Phil's viewership, but it certainly sounds more dramatic when I phrase it like that. Phil's irresponsible spending habits were fully revealed after the bank leaks were released. But even then, it was speculated that Phil struggled to reign in his YouTube glory days of spending well and living well. While Phil earns 6 figures a year, he spends almost as much the other way too. Even after the bankruptcy had wiped over $130,000 worth of credit card debt off him.
11. Women, especially, are tightly controlled.
Phil's wife Kat is someone who doesn't seem to exist anymore, while she was attempting to make video content online just like Phil. That page is no longer active on YouTube, while her old Twitter handle has also been cast aside. There is no online existence for Kat Burnell. At least not a known one, while Leanna was young enough for Phil to attempt to control by removing her from her immediate family. He seems to have gone several steps further in maintaining a measure of control over Kat.
12. Deception is normalized, and the ends always justify the means.
Phil lies a lot, and when called out for it, he'll often claim he had to lie to protect his family, which usually makes no damn sense whatsoever. But this is Phil Burnell after all, and in his eyes, if it helps make him a lot of money, the ends will always justify the means. This includes looking like a hypocrite for embracing React content, after openly ridiculing the practice before years earlier. So there are 12 different signs that Phil's behavior is similar to that of a cult. Do you agree with my observations? Or do you want to challenge them? I invite open discourse down below in the comments section, but let's try and avoid toxicity now. There's enough of that in a Phil stream, after all. This has been King Jad. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Peace out.